Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Hello guys, welcome back to the next episode. I'm so excited by today's guest speaker. She is one of our most accomplished Australian basketball players of all time. Starting in 2009, she played for Australia in the Youth Olympics, and fast forward 10 years, in 2019, she was the number one 3vs3 player in Australia, top scorer and captain of the Australian World Cup team in 2019. She won the Women's 3vs3 World Series, and in 2020, she was selected for the Opal's Olympic squad. She's one of the most hardworking athletes I've come across and is making serious waves in the Australian and international basketball scene. She's so down to earth and one of my favorite people. Welcome to the podcast. We have Beck Cole.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. That was so nice. Everything that you said. Also, I'm like, Jesus, fast forward 10 years. I am old now.
Crazy. Hey, and you know what? When you sent me through all your accomplishments, I was trying to list off my favorite things. And we would be here for an hour just going through everything you've accomplished over the last 10 years. It's crazy.
I know, it is pretty insane when you think about it as a little kid, like what your goals were, and then being able to achieve some of them. I obviously still have a couple of things I want to tick off my list, but I think it just does show, like you said, hard work pays off.
100%. You've done so amazing, and I feel like you're at the forefront of basketball in Australia and internationally. But take us back from the very beginning. So how did you first get into basketball?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in a family that just loved sports. So I have two older sisters and we all did netball, athletics. I randomly did basketball, and my sisters played soccer because my dad's actually an ex-Soccer Roo. So we got some good sporting genes in us. But my netball teammate just asked, hey, could you fill in for our basketball team this Tuesday afternoon? And I was like, yeah, Mum, can I go? She's like, yeah, sure. And I went and I played, and Mum just said I was obsessed. I would not shut up on the car ride home. I was like, Mum, you have to sign me up. The uniforms are so cool. I have to do this. And the rest is history.
I love that. So how old were you when you first did that?
So I was 7 when I first played. Yeah. And my team was the EBs. So that was pretty cool.
That's so cool. I love that. And then, so from there, what was your next step? So obviously you played during school. When did you sort of realize that you had a knack for the sport?
Yeah, I think I was pretty lucky in that I was good at most sports I did. That sounds really cocky, but that's not what I mean. I was just super lucky. I played at a state level for track, basketball, and netball. Mm-hmm. And it got to age 15, 16 where you're in high school, you're super busy, and to take your sport to the next level, you can't be doing 2 or 3. You have to choose. And so I left track because I was like, I love team sports. I love being in a team environment. So that one went first. And then for me at that stage, basketball, you can go to an Olympics, whereas netball, you can't. Basketball, you can go travel overseas and play, and you can play offense and defense, score, dribble, defend. Whereas netball, you're stuck in thirds, and that's sort of how my mind went at that age. So it was around 15 or 16 where I gave up the other sports and just purely focused on playing basketball and was hoping to make a career out of it.
Yeah, which you've definitely done. And I guess at that age as well, you go down a path of either, partying and social events and doing all those things, where you clearly chose the other path. So how was that for you in high school? You're 15 years old, all your friends are partying, wanting to go out, but you're, training, you have these dreams of being in the Olympics. How did you find that sort of in those years?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was quite hard because I was in the crowd of the girls and the guys who are going out every weekend, and it was on a Friday night I played rep basketball, on a Saturday I was still playing basketball, and on Sunday I was training. And so they're like, come out, and I was like, no, I can't, I have a game. And they're like, just don't go to the game. I'm like, I can't just not go to the game. That's not how it works. I can't just not go to training. So I feel like in year 9 and year 10, it was a bit harder because people didn't quite understand. But I moved to Caulfield for VCE, and I think I had a few more friends who were in that stage of sport that understood, or if they weren't, I think they understood the level I wanted to get to. So it was a bit easier for them to understand. And I think at the end of the day, I was like, well, I don't want to drink. I don't really care for it. Like, I'll go out for an hour, hang out with my friends, but then I'm home. So I think I was lucky in that aspect that I did have a group around me that understood by that age. But it was tough because you missed out on heaps of events.
Yeah, definitely. And as you've, gotten older, you've probably created a circle around you that have similar goals and mindsets and things like that. But as you've gotten older and obviously being an athlete, have you found that you've had to say no to a lot of social events later on in life also? Or how do you find a way to balance going out with your friends, enjoying yourself, being a young woman, being in Melbourne, with also being an athlete?
Yeah, I think as I've gotten older, I probably understand the balance a bit more. I think there was an age where it was all basketball. And I don't think that goes as great because I've had some serious injuries. Like my father was quite ill, and it's like there's bigger things in life than just playing our sport. Like, so super grateful I get to play it. Obviously, I'm obsessed with it, but sometimes you have to like take a step back and realize I do it because I love it, and you work really hard, so you deserve to let your hair down time to time. So I think as I've gone older, my circle is definitely smaller, and a lot of my close friends are my basketball friends because we have the same lifestyle, just like you said. And look, it is hard. Like, I miss out on weddings, birthdays, all those sorts of things because when I play basketball and I'm in season, that's how I get paid, and we're contracted. So it really sucks that I can't go to one of my good friends' wedding. And some people don't even understand it, but it's like you can't go. It's not an option. So it purely sucks. But the times that we do get to go, it's like you cherish those moments and you're so grateful for it. But I like to let my hair down. Like, I love red wine and I love partying with my girls. And so, we do it in the space where if we played Saturday, okay, maybe we go out Saturday night because we have Sunday off, and then we're ready to go Monday. So I think, balance is crucial for getting the best out of yourself.
Yeah, totally. And people see, everything you've accomplished and they look up to you. But what a lot of people don't see is what happens behind closed doors and, things that you do have to miss out on in order to accomplish these amazing goals that you have. But I guess as you continue growing and you become more established, you can kind of have a look and work out that you can actually balance both to a certain point as well, which is really cool.
100%.
So let's talk about your training. So obviously COVID has thrown a massive spanner in the works, but I am seeing that you are training high-level professional athletes such as yourself are able to train at the moment, which is amazing. But talk me through what a typical week of training looks like for you.
Oh, super grateful being a part of the VIS that we still get to go. So it sucks for everyone else out there, and like, good on everyone who is, getting up, doing it at home, going to the park, going for a walk. Like, you guys are awesome. So keep it up. I just want to say that. But at the moment, so I had a clean out on my knee 3-4 weeks ago. So I guess I'm sort of in a rehabby phase, but at the moment I'm lifting legs 3 times a week, an upper body circuit. So that includes like med ball slams, upper body weights, and that is so hard. I sweat so much doing that, and my shoulders, dear God, for days. And then I'll do 2 bike sessions a week, 2 swimming sessions a week. They're my cardio sessions. And then at the moment, courts are a little harder to get, but I'm on court like shooting hoops 3 times a week. So 6 days a week I'm training, and Sunday complete rest day. And then maybe once or twice I'll go for a walk just by the beach because I'm in St Kilda at the moment. But that's a typical off season because you need to keep your cardio in. We're not playing basketball at the moment, but in season, when I play for my Southside Flyers WNBL team, it's a bit different. We don't lift as much. We do one upper week, one upper session, one lower session, and then like a power session. So it's very explosive, bit less weight, and it's quite quick. But then we're on court Monday, Tuesday, Thursday as a team. You normally do a shoot around session before you play a game on the weekend. And normally before those team trainings, I'm getting up shots for like 45 to an hour beforehand. So it's pretty hectic. And when I have the other rest time, I'm recovering. That's all I'm doing. Sleeping, eating, recovery boots, in the plunge pool, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so interesting as well, seeing how athletes are integrating strength training into their training, so they can get obviously better at their chosen sport. Obviously, strength training or powerlifting sort of training isn't what you do. You're a basketball player, but you implement a lot of strength training and gym work, which is a massive benefit to you as a basketball athlete. Is that something you've always done? Have you always sort of been in and out of the gym to complement your court training?
Yeah, I think when I was about 15 or 16, I started, lifting here and there. Of course, we're in school, so it was a bit harder to do that. But then probably the first time I was doing, big lifting was when I went to the AIS on scholarship in Canberra for about 3 years. And that was probably the first time it was like, wow, here is a real gym session. Welcome to weights, woman. Like, you need to learn to lift. So I always was in the gym, but I don't think it was till I went Bruce at Body World, which is where you go to as well. And, I really got into these bigger squats, single leg, double leg, deadlifts. I've never, I think, fully done that to the capacity that I thought I would be able to. So Bruce and Shunt there at Body World have been absolutely awesome. And I really love it because it is something completely different. And it's like when I watch you guys, that's your sport, that's what you do. Like I get pumped watching you guys because I'm like, hells yeah, like that's so impressive. And I'm like, okay, come on, Collie, like you're next, let's go. So obviously I'll never be able to be like you, but probably this is my 4th or 5th year into that main like strength stuff.
That's amazing. And you're super, super strong as well. I see the weights that you're lifting as well in the gym or what you can do, and it's so impressive. And I think one of the coolest things about the gym that we train at is, we have high-level basketball players, we have power lifters who, are competing at high levels. We have all different athletes, and we all come together when it comes to strength training and rehab and prehab and all those things that we do. And it's cool to have such diversity and people competing in different sports, all in the one place. It's one of my favorite things about Body World.
It really is. The community there is amazing. And like you said, we all just get behind each other, and it's awesome to learn new things that you don't know about certain sports.
100%. And I look up to you guys and I'm just like, holy moly, you guys are animals. Like the way you train, in and out of the gym. It's so, so, so inspiring. Moving on, we've got some juicy questions that have come through. So let's start with tell me about your most successful season in your sport.
Yeah, I would say, there's probably 2 that are equal. One was I was in quite a low place in basketball. I'd gone through serious knee injury, took about a couple of years to come back, and I just, I actually thought about quitting at some point. I changed clubs and changed also positions, going from a point guard to a shooting guard. And it was honestly the best decision I ever made. And going from, I think, where I was to this season and where I went, it was absolutely amazing. You grew so much as a player and as a person, and just the confidence I had within myself. But I went from being pretty shitty to I came runner-up MVP in the whole league. I was in the All-Star 5 team of the league. Our team unfortunately finished 5th, but I was also MVP of that season of my team. So that was something I think I was super proud of, going from, one extreme to the other. And then I think the other one was last 2020 WNBL season. I won my first senior championship. So with my Southside Flyers girls winning the WNBL championship, it's so funny. You want it so much. And then people ask, how did it feel? And I was like, to be honest, the word I would use is relief. Because we had this great team and we worked so hard and we were in a bubble. But those were the two things. One more individually, and the other one was definitely like that team and winning a ring with each other.
Totally. And for all you guys who are listening, Beck is a leader within basketball. She's captained many, many sides. And she really, you can tell the way that you communicate with your team and how you are as a person. You're really taking on that leadership role as captain as well, which I think you learn from going through hard times, which was going to be my next question. You mentioned that you've had injuries. How have you overcome that? And where were you mentally as an athlete having an injury? How was that for you?
Yeah, so the injuries I had, because it might make it a little bit more easier to understand, maybe like my process. So I've done, when I was 19 at the AIS, I did my ACL, MCL, meniscus, redid my meniscus, and then had a cartilage clean out. So that's a lot of surgeries. And then 5 years later, did my other ACL, meniscus and cartilage issues as well. So the first one I did, I was, a baby in the sport, and I honestly thought I did my knee. I thought my career was over and like that was it. And I was a hard worker, but this was the time where I was like, you have to work even harder to get back to where you were and better. I just can't come, and be the same person. Sport, you need to get better and keep progressing. So that one was definitely hard. And that's when I think I was first introduced to the gym, like properly. And I was like, damn, this is hard work. This is a grind. And people, I don't think know, you're in a team sport and you're used to doing everything with your team, from eating meals, training, working out in the gym, recovery. I'm now on the sidelines doing all this training by myself in the gym, cardio, whatever I can do on the basketball court without my team, and having to watch them on the sidelines. And that is probably one of the hardest things I ever went through, and realized what that was going to be like, because it wasn't like it was for a couple of weeks because I had a niggle. That was for like a year. And so you don't ever want to use that word jealous, but you're jealous that the people that you love are doing the sport that you love and you can't do anything about it. So that one was definitely hard, but coming out of it, so proud of going through that process and learning, I think, how to best go about it, and to lean on, like, find a circle and lean on people that you can trust. So my dad was awesome, my parents, but as he was an ex-pro athlete, I think he understands it on another level. And so he knew when I just needed a shoulder to cry on, or if I needed to pull my head out of my ass. So that was really good. And then I guess 5 years later, I did my other knee. When you watch the tape of me doing it, when I screamed and went down, I was screaming, no, not because of the pain, but because I was like, mind my French, fuck, I have to do this again. Like, I have to do this all again. Are you kidding me? Anyway, that process made it a bit easier because I'd already been through it. I knew what I had to do. So, I got my circle quick. I figured out a plan in the gym, my cardio, the steps we were going to take. And I set little goals this time about, this is where I want to be this month, to this is what I want to do in 2 weeks. And then that felt like I was achieving something, being able to, tick that off. And at the end of all that, I'm here now. And, my knees are probably about 80 years old because they've been through a lot. But it's like, I make sure I'm as strong and as fit as I can be, so I can be the best player I can be on the court. So I'm super proud of where I am and what I've done so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That shows the kind of person you are, that you take these injuries as a challenge to come back even better and even stronger and not hold you back. I think a lot of the times when people do have injuries, they really go one way or the other. They, they give up, or they think,
Mhm.
you know what, fuck that, I'm going to keep pushing forward and become even stronger, which is exactly what you've done.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, in a way, I feel like what I went through is also to help other people when they've gone through that situation. So there's been some younger basketballers, as well as just like, normal people who just like work out and be fit, but they've hurt themselves and done their knee and they need help. So, they reach out, and it's awesome being able to be like, here's some maybe exercises you can do in the gym. But for the, the young gun basketballs, it's like, hey, I know where you're at mentally. Let's talk about it. Like, I'm here for you to help you. I've been there. I've done that. So I feel like that's something, I think that's also quite close to my heart, that I love that I can, give back through something that I've been through.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows what kind of leader you are as well. But you made an interesting point. Being an athlete and having an injury is so soul crushing because that's your livelihood, right? But a lot of the times we see people in the gym, general population, who have a little injury and they almost allow that as an excuse, or they feel like they're not going to recover from that injury. A lot of our listeners are new trainers and coaches and things like that in the industry. What advice would you give to a new personal trainer and new coach who had a client who had an injury? What advice would you give to them?
I would say make them accountable and hold them accountable. So if they're going to complain like, it's too sore, I can't do this, there's a difference between you being in actual pain and not being able to do it compared to it being uncomfortable because you're pushing your body to a good limit in order for you to get better and heal from this injury that you've got. So I would say hold them accountable and even give them exercises to do at home, not just in the gym, so that you can see when they've come back, they've actually been doing those things to benefit them and push that along. Because I know what you mean. Like, you hear it when some people are like, nah, I can't do it. We haven't even tried. Like, and I think you need to allow your client to have trust in you. So like, make sure you're confident and you know what you're doing, because if we trust you, the process will go so much quicker.
100%. And I think the most important thing is when people are injured, the worst thing you could do is sit at home and do nothing, right? That's what people want to do. But you need to be doing your exercises. You need to have protocol. You need to be calling on people like Bruce and Chant or other people who specialize in injuries and injury prevention and rehab and all those things, so you can get better and become stronger and then go on to achieving amazing things like you have. Talk to me about your nutrition. So you're an athlete, you're training 6 times a week, you're doing a lot, you are in serious shape as well, you have abs for days. Let's talk nutrition. What does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, so normally I wake up in the morning. If I'm starting training at 7 or 7:30, I'm not particularly like starving, but I always make this like homemade muesli slice that has oats, bunch of different seeds, and some dried fruit in that with some honey. So I always have a slice of that, some yogurt, either YoPro or Chobani, whatever is on sale that week, I'll get, and then a coffee. So I'll go work out. So that's normally like a lift and a cardio. After that session, I'll have my protein shake and maybe a banana. And then I'll go shoot hoops, because once I've done that workout, I need a bit of a refuel to get me going through that. Then normally for lunch at the moment, I've been having piece of toast with Vegemite and a poached egg on top, some guac. And either if I have a bit of leftover dinner, it's normally like a tofu stir fry. I might add also a bit of that, just a small portion. I love Arvo snack time. That's like my favorite. I normally will have crackers and hummus, or like carrots and cucumber with that. And make sure like I have another probably little bit of carb in there. And then another coffee, always an Arvo coffee. And then my dinner is normally something that's just protein and veg. So whether that's like salmon and a salad or a stir fry, or it might be some like meatballs with a salad. I have tried to cut down on meat a bit because, one, I'm a bit weird about it, and two, to try help save the planet. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of some new vegetarian things. But if I'm training more on a certain day, I might add like a rice or a noodle to my dinner to get a bit more carbs in, because I've just trained for 4 hours. Whereas the days that I haven't, then I'll leave the carb out. And then normally I love a bit of dessert too, but my go-to is frozen mango and then a couple of squares of like dark chocolate, like 70 or 80%. So that's normally what I would eat in a day. And somewhere some peanut butter, off a spoon for sure.
Yeah, awesome. No, and you can tell that you're very like nutrient dense. And that's why I love talking to athletes and getting them to share a little bit about their nutrition, because obviously you perform at a really high level, you're, in amazing shape and all those things, but you're not restricting yourself. You're eating, lots of carbs, lots of protein, lots of food, getting all like your micro and macronutrients in. Do you track your food, or do you just eat around your performance? Is it more performance orientated rather than tracking numbers?
Yeah, so I've never tracked. I don't even know if I would know how to do that, or I feel like it would take me forever. But for me, it's more around my performance, like when we're training or gymming, in how I eat. And I think that's probably the same for most basketballers. That's definitely more like how we go on our nutritional base.
I love that so much, because anyone can implement that, whether they're an athlete or someone who's training in the gym and just has like a strength goal. Training for your performance is just such a nice way to live, rather than trying to restrict yourself, like having goals outside of just your physical appearance, training, eating for your performance. And then as a result, cool, you do look amazing, but that's not your first goal. Like that's not what you're eating towards. You're eating towards, playing at the best you can, recovering the best you can. And as a result, you get amazing aesthetic goals, but that's not why you eat the food you eat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like I went through a time where when I was coming back from injury, I think what I can control was how I looked, because I guess I couldn't really control like getting on the court. And so I was not eating as much. And I was like super, super lean. But once I got back on the court, I was getting pushed around everywhere. Like I couldn't push and attack and drive to the basket because I was getting pushed back out to half court.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something I will always remember. It made me realize, no, like you need to be around this weight and have this strength. Otherwise, you're not going to be good at your sport. And that, like you said, that's what I need to do. And that's how I make money. So that was always something that would stick in my mind for sure. But
I love that.
I think it is important, like say Saturday night or Sundays, I like eat whatever I want. If I want a croissant, if I want takeout, if I want wine, cheese, like I do it because I think you have to have balance. Because if I restricted myself Monday through Sunday forever, I would just like blow out for a whole week. So I feel good, having your little treats, and then I'm like, yeah, ready to go back Monday, Saturday, be clean, and then, have that day off.
100%, definitely. And anyone can implement that mindset around food. I think as women, we do get really caught up in our appearance, which is very normal. We all want to look good. But having goals inside a gym or in a court or any sort of way that you can do a physical exercise to have a performance goal and eat that way is just such a better way to live than just purely worrying about the way we look. Because ultimately, as you know, there's always something. You're never going to be happy until you're actually happy with yourself.
Amen, sister. Preach.
Awesome. So moving on to our next question, what advice do you have for up and coming women in basketball?
I love this question. I would say my two things would be work hard when people are watching, but also when no one else is watching. So do the little bits, whether that's at home in your backyard or, getting early to training and doing the 1%ers, because those things when you're young add up to by the time you're 20 years old. And I would say always be confident and never let anyone put you down. Always strive to be the greatest, because if I listened to every single coach that, said I wasn't good enough and I was never going to make this, well, I wouldn't be playing basketball and I wouldn't be where I am today. And probably my last little bit would be like, find your close circle who you trust, and
Yeah.
lean on them just to talk about your goals or what went wrong in that game, anything, absolutely anything, because that can really help with your growth. But most of all, have fun, because if you're not having fun, what is the point of even doing it?
100%, definitely. I completely agree with you. So talk me through, what are your hobbies? Like, what do you like doing outside of basketball? Obviously, it takes up a lot of your time, and your training is a lot. But do you have a life outside of training and and competing? And it's totally okay if you
I'm
don't.
dead. No, I do. I'm so dead. Do you have a life? Oh, dead. That's so good. Yeah, so in summer, let's go to summer, because that's more like my jam when the sun is out. Love being in a bikini on the beach by a pool with music on and my friends. Like, that's where you'll see me all summer when I'm not training. I love going to the movies, so like hella sad that that's not a thing, because I love going, buying some popcorn. That's just like a mad hobby. But also, I think I'm a bit of like a foodie. So when the pandemic's not on, like, you'll see me out for brunch or out for dinner, and I love trying new restaurants, and as I've gotten older, like new food. So that's probably, I know that doesn't really sound like hobbies, but that's my
I
hobbies,
love
and
it.
I'm a super family orientated person. So normally, like, we always catch up for a family brunch on on the weekend, and I really miss that at the moment. I miss my fam bam. But yeah, just friends and family, being close, being silly with people. That's probably like, yeah, cruisy.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And what's your favorite restaurant in the area?
Oh, okay. In this is a hard one. I'm just like, I love Mr. Miyagi
I
and
was gonna pick
Okaforza.
that.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, because I just like, if someone asks me, what's your favorite food? I'm
Yeah.
always like, modern Asian fusion. They're like, you're a dickhead. I'm like, yeah, but that's the truth. But like, also love a lobster. So
Mm.
clay pots in South Melbourne, cheeky little place I got introduced to. Oh, loved that. Like fresh seafood, real good.
Awesome. I haven't actually been there. I need to go check it out.
Do, you will not regret it. Actually, funny story. So there's a menu, and then there's like stuff on the chalkboard to tell you the prices. And most stuff was like real reasonable. And I looked in the thing, and it was like lobster tail, and I was like, hell yeah. Anyway, I bought it. Didn't realize the price, and then it was $80 for that lobster tail. And I obviously was out to dinner with a friend and had ordered like other stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll get this one. And I was like, oh, regrets.
Was it worth it though?
No, it really was, because this sauce that it was in, it was amazing. But I was just like, all right, there you go. Good weekend there for you, Coley.
I love that so much. I love food so much as well. So I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your up and coming goals?
Yeah. So I would say for the next like 3 to 5 years, I think by the end of that, I probably would have retired basketball. So this current last year was actually quite tough for me, because I missed out on going to the Olympics twice. So with 3x3, we went to the Olympic qualifiers, and we didn't come in the top three. So we were unsuccessful. And part of the Opal squad, I was one of the last cuts with our final selection camp. So I wasn't able to go. So my heart was ripped out twice from, a goal that I've had since I was 15. So in 3 years, really want to be at Paris Olympics. And I'm so lucky I have 2 basketball pathways to try do that. And in between there's Commonwealth Games for 3x3 next year. So I really want to go there. And there's World Cup for Opals here in Sydney in Australia. And so
Awesome.
next year, is going to be a huge year. So they're probably playing for Australia. They're my next goals within, the 3 to 4 year bracket. I would love to win another WNBL championship without this time. But then, post sport, I love fitness, and I love just being fit, going to the gym. So I do see myself, I don't know where, but somewhere. I've also done my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness a while back now, but somewhere in the fitness industry, I can always see myself popping in wherever that may be. I'm not exactly sure where, but it's like a F45 because I used to work there at Hawthorn and train with the people at St Kilda. And I love it because it's a team environment. Something I am quite passionate about. And I guess I'm trying to network with people now and get my foot in the door. I love, as you can probably tell, talking and the media, and I love sport. So I've been lucky enough to do a few things with Fox Sports as like being on the broadcast or the NBL. So that is something definitely I could see myself waking up every day, passionate, wanting to go to work every day doing. So at the moment, I guess that's what I'm trying to do is, build relationships and, even if I can do a little internship somewhere is, go be in the media talking about sport, any sport. I would absolutely love it. So maybe a boyfriend too. That would be nice. My husband somewhere around that.
Post basketball life. I feel you.
I don't know.
I can definitely see you, whatever you're going to do, it's going to be something that you're very passionate about. You wear your heart on your sleeve and you have such good energy around you. So I can definitely see you in some type of industry post being an athlete where you're still very involved in either basketball or some sort of group fitness or, like you mentioned, media or something along the lines of that. I can't see you doing not that there's anything wrong with a 9-to-5 corporate role. That's cool. That's your jam. But yeah, I definitely can't see you going along those sort of lines.
Oh my God, no. I would just feel like, dude,
yeah.
I couldn't do it. Nah. I need to be like up and about with people,
Totally.
like you said, energy. Yeah, that's my vibe.
Definitely. All right. So we've got a couple more questions left. Let's go with, so is there a coach or an athlete that you look up to as a role model? And if so, why?
Oh, this is a good one. I think when I was younger, I feel like it's hard because I feel like now I'm the role model, if that makes sense. Like I'm now 29 and I feel like now the younger generation is looking up to us. But when I was younger, my two role models were Kathy Freeman and Penny Taylor. And I think Kathy Freeman, and more so now knowing what she went through and knowing her story more back then. But I remember watching her on TV being like, that was amazing. And I still did athletics at that stage, but just what she did for a whole nation just by herself running a 400 meters is like absolutely insane. So her as a person and the way she went about things, I think she was definitely my role model in that aspect and like dreaming so big. And then Penny Taylor, she's a basketballer and I just think she was so super nice. And I remember one time her current boyfriend was a Brazilian and they were down at Melbourne Victory watching the soccer, and Dad worked there then and he set up for me to be able to go meet them. And she was just like so lovely and so supportive. And, not all people at that level, are that nice, if I'm being honest. So the fact that she just gave tiny old Beck, the time of day, just to chat all things basketball was super amazing. And, watching her play, like she was just so good. And it was like, I want to be like Penny Taylor. Like that's what you wanted to be. You wanted to be the next Penny Taylor. But I think that was something that was, they were definitely my two role models.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, you being that role model now for young women, the wheel turns, and it's crazy how, you look up to these people and now so many people looking up to you and everything that you're achieving.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm like, geez, the times have turned, haven't they? But yeah, I absolutely love it. And I think I have to say, one more role model is definitely my dad, because he's freaking amazing. So he's obviously, like I said, ex-Soccer Roo. He's then been a business person. He helped build Victory in the A-League from the ground up. Like, he's so smart. He keeps learning. He challenges me to be a better person. And he had lymphoma last year, and he was able, Dad had cancer. The word cancer is like the scariest word in the world. But to see him, it honestly felt like he casually just went through that with his chemo and his radiotherapy. And now he's beat it and he's in remission. And the fact he's done all that and just still been the most bloody awesome human in the world, I'm like, I love you. I want to be like you. Everyone needs to have a Gary Cole in their life. So I just love him for what he's done for me, not only as, in basketball, but just like as my father, being his daughter. He's absolutely amazing.
That's amazing. He sounds very, very inspiring. And for you guys listening, Beck is actually a ambassador for lymphoma. Did you want to talk a little bit more about that and what that means?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be part of a charity, but I didn't want to just like do it for the sake of doing it. I really wanted to have a passion behind it. And obviously Dad got diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and when he said lymphoma, I actually had to look it up because I didn't know what it was, and I don't think it's a common cancer that people actually know, and it's not. If you ask people, they don't really know about it. So I emailed the ladies, and there's a girl named Josie who's absolutely awesome from lymphoma, and I speak to her a lot, and she's in charge of all the charity events and the social media aspect. And I just said, how can I be involved? Like, I want to help any way I can. And actually September is the raising awareness for lymphoma month. So last year, my dad and I actually, it was super fun during COVID as well. And just, he was in remission at this time, and we did some challenges that we then put out to the public just to help raise awareness for it. So that was super fun just to do it with my dad. And, I will be posting like little facts about lymphoma, and like I'm still learning as well. There's so much to it, and there's not just like one lymphoma cancer. There's different types, and they all mean different things. So being able to help any way I can, and just raising awareness for not only such good people within that community and the patients, but also the nurses and the doctors behind it who are so giving to every single patient and family behind it. So super close to my heart, that one.
And how can people get involved and support you or support lymphoma in raising awareness?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways you can go, but the best way would be go onto the lymphoma website, and you can I've also done a part where Dad and I did donations as well. So we got people to raise money, and like we were exercising for that. So even if you I understand it's so hard, you can't even, donate some money, so fine. Wear some green. So lime is their cancer color ribbon, and it's like anytime you go out, wear a pop of lime or a pop of green. And there's just so many things that you can do, or you do exercise for that month to raise awareness. So it's super awesome, and there is different ways. But if you go onto the website, they've got links to different ways that you can learn more, or how you can help that community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beck. You are such an inspirational person. You've achieved so much, and your continuous drive to help other people is really evident. You've achieved so much yourself, but what you're doing now for the next generation of basketball players, for being an ambassador for lymphoma as well, and all the other things you've talked about, you're such an incredible person. And it has been amazing having you on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
So much fun. And if anyone wants to look you up, where can they find you?
At Rebecca J. Cole.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again.
Cole World. Thank you, Alex.
You're so welcome, and I'll see you very soon.